got the questions here.
So, welcome to my channel, ladies and gentlemen, away Paul Kane, aka Kano. Thank you ever so much for coming on the channel.
It's taken a wee while, Dan, but we've finally got it. I got my daughter to help me with the Zoom call. Now we've got noise. We can talk.
Because I can, you're no very a technical man.
No, not at all.
You're just used to pulling pints.
Pulling pints, that's me, son. That's what I'm good at nowadays.
So, how's lockdown been for you?
Oh, well, I've opened a cafe now in my pub, The Tor. The lounge used to be kind of made redundant. So in the last COVID, obviously we didn't earn any money through that. So when this lockdown came, we said we were going to make use of the lounge. So we've turned it into a cafe. And your good friend Ian McDonald and that were there today.
All right.
So you'll need to come up and visit us.
I will need to, obviously.
Of course.
So the first question is, when did it become clear to you that you wanted to play professionally as a young kid?
Well, my dad signed for Hibs professionally. He played. He didn't play for the first team, but he played for the third and second team. And in that era, it was Joe Baker and that kind of thing. So my dad's always been into football. So it's him that's pushed me since I was a small kid. So it was obviously my dad, you know what I mean, who pushed me all the way. And then obviously I started to like it. And then played at school, played in the playground, played after school, just had a ball all the time, basically. Just one of these kids that had the ball all the time.
What made you support the mighty hibs?
My father, or his family, my dad had 11 brothers and 2 sisters, and they were all Hibs supporters. So basically, that's basically what happened. Usually, that's what happens when whatever team your father supports. That's what normally happens. You support them, and that's
exactly. Your phone gone off?
No, that wasn't mine. I think it was yours. Was it? No,
it's not mine.
I don't know. I told you I'm more technical, Dad.
What were you like growing up? Are you still a wee shit as you are now?
Of course. I've not changed. I've not changed since I've been getting bigger. I'm still just a wee shit, as you say. I was into football. You know what I mean? As I said to you early doors, I always carried the ball, took a ball to the school in the morning, went to the playground, played in the morning. If it was, I went to St Mary's, Star of the Sea in the Kirkgate Leith, and basically it was a bit undercover. So when I went in the morning, I would start kicking the ball with my right foot and left foot, and basically as soon as somebody else came, we'd have a game of what they all call long buyers. As soon as somebody else came, and then at the end of the day, it was like maybe 5, 6, 7 a side in a small area. And then we would play break time, lunch time, back up the road to the house and just play with the guys in the street. Called in for my dinner.
You and your grub, Jesus.
Throughout
your career, you've made 506 appearances and you scored 54 goals.
Well, I didn't know that, Daz, until you told me that, but I'm glad you told me.
You've played for Hibs, Oldham, Aberdeen and other clubs. What was it like playing for all those clubs?
Well, I started off at Hibs. I played for a team called Salvation Boys Club when I was from under 12 to under 16, and Salvation were a renowned football team in Edinburgh, and lots of people from Salvation made it into the professional game. And it was Gary Mackay's father who took my team under 12s and under 13s. So it went from there, and as I say, how I kind of got a contract with Hibs is Hibs used to have a team of S forums. and Salvesen Boys Club played them one day up at Heriot Watt, and we beat them. So it was like the best of the kids for all the teams in Edinburgh, Hutchie Vale and all that kind of thing. And they played Salvesen Boys Club, and we beat them 5-0. So I got asked to go for a trial. I had one trial at Easter Road, had another game at Easter Road, and on the third trial, I asked if I wanted to sign apprentice forums, which is like just leaving school and signing for 2 years, like apprentice forums. So basically, my wage at the start was £31.92. It was £35, £31.92, and £5 expenses. But I suppose at that stage in your life, it's not really about the money. It's about getting the chance to progress in football.
What was the ball like back in the day?
It wasn't laced up or anything like that. You know what I mean? It was like it was getting a wee bit lighter each year. It kind of the ball got lighter and lighter and all that kind of thing. And but it doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter, Darren. If you can control the ball, you should be able to control any ball if you're a decent football player. And the one thing's true: the more you practice, the better you get. It doesn't matter what sport you play. The more you practice, the better you're going to get.
So you got better, I'm presuming?
I'm hoping so. Well, I played for 21 years, Daz. 21 years in the professional game. Some would say no, but others would agree.
Who was the hard man in the Hibs team back then?
And the Hibs team? Yeah, well, there's variety players I played with in the Hibs team, you know what I mean? But and the very first kind of team, I would say, when I made it into the first team, I would say that Jackie McNamara Senior was a real hard player. Wasn't a dirty player, but was hard, tough tackler, but hard. I would go with Jackie McNamara as a teammate.
So you were a big softie in that case.
No. I could look after myself. But he was also one of the guys I looked up to because before I joined Hibs, I was a Hibs supporter, and I used to go to the games with my mum called Brian. We used to sit in the north stand, and if I played on a Saturday, I would get dropped off at Easter Road and go and watch the last 20 minutes or the second half, whatever it was. I would get into the game and watch the second half for the last 20 minutes, and I would go and meet my Uncle Brian. So, and I knew the players, but I knew who they were. You know what I mean? So guys like Ralph Garland, Jackie McNamara, Gordon Ray, and all that kind of thing. Before I joined Hibs, I didn't know them personally, but I knew who they were, and Jackie McNamara was one of the guys that I looked up to. Kind of my first kind of idol was Jackie McNamara.
Best player you've played with?
Throughout my whole career?
Yeah.
There was one that stands out. I mean, there's a lot of good players I played with, but if I was looking at one, I only played a short while. I played about a year and a half with him, and he came to Hibs. It was Steve Archibald. Steve Archibald was a guy who had played at Clyde, went to Aberdeen, I think he went to Tottenham, and then he went to Barcelona, and then I think he went to Espanyol, and he came from Espanyol to Hibs. And what the young guys liked about Steve Archibald was he passed on his experience. Stevie was a great guy. I mean, if he liked you, you were fine. If he didn't like you, it was a wee bit different. Is that you, Daz?
No, that's your phone, mate.
My phone? Must be my daughter's or something, pal. So Stevie Archibald was a great guy, and all the experience that he had and had gotten throughout his career for that year and a half, he passed on to myself, John Collins, Gordon Hunter, it didn't really matter who it was, the young guy, he helped you along. And I always appreciate that about him. But he had played at a real high level. And I would say he was probably the best player I played with in my career.
Toughest player you've played against?
Oh. See, I played a variety of positions, Darren. I played at right back. I played midfield. In fact, my first 2 seasons at Hibs were as centre forward. So the first season I played at Hibs, I scored 13 goals, and John Robertson for the Hearts scored 15. Second season, John Robertson scored 28 goals, and I scored 8. So John Robertson always stayed a centre forward. I got moved about.
Toughest
Toughest player I played against?
No. Best player you've played against?
Or best player I played against? I don't know if you remember him, Dan, but there was a guy called Paul McStay who played with Celtic.
No.
Very, 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 very underrated player. I thought he was a fantastic player. Fantastic player. A great other player was Jim Bett. Jim Bett played at Aberdeen at the time and was a real, real good player. But the best I would say when Gascoigne was in his prime at Rangers, he was an unbelievable player. Unbelievable player, Paul Gascoigne.
Best manager you've played under?
That'd be tough to be you, Daz, eh? That'd tough to be you, because you're always telling me what to do, you know what I mean? You're always saying, do this, Carol, do that, Carol. The best manager I played under, the best spell I had was at St Johnstone. And it was probably a combination of 2 managers. It was probably Paul Sturrock, who I went to Norway to get away for a situation at Aberdeen. I hadn't played at Aberdeen for a year, and I used the Bossman ruling to go out there to get myself fit and get back into football. I came back, and I'll always be grateful for St Johnstone and Paul Sturrock for taking a chance on me and giving me a chance to get back in the game. I'd probably say Paul Sturrock and Sandy Clark. Sandy Clark inherited a very good team for Paul Sturrock, but Sandy used his brains and let the because it was an older kind of team, an experienced team, and he let us use our own brains and let us just get on with it. You know what I mean? There wasn't too much tactics because most of the guys knew the game. So it'd be a combination of the 2.
Funniest player you've played with?
Funniest player? I had a great roommate in Andy Gorham. Me and Andy we shared a room for many, many years, and he was one funny guy. He was a funny guy. Very, very funny guy. I would tough to see Andy Gorham. Very funny guy.
I know it's fun. Well, to be fair, you're not very funny yourself.
Same as you, Daz. Same as you.
Best joke you've heard?
Darren Thompson. It's the best joke I've heard.
You can...
No, you can't swear on this now.
I know, you can go and take
You were just a bit swearing there, weren't you?
You can take a monkey's to yourself.
Darren Thompson's the best joke I've heard.
Oh.
That's my joke, Darren Thompson. Best joke I've heard.
Best goal you've scored?
The best... Is that in my whole career?
Aye.
The one that sticks out in my mind, but we didn't win the game, was my first goal, obviously. My first goal against the Hearts. I was playing centre forward for Hibs, and I scored to put us 1-0 up, and it was against the Hearts fans at the Dunbar end. But Craig Levine equalised late on, and I think Derek O'Connor scored in injury time to make it 2-1 for the Hearts. But what I remember most about that game was, and I can remember like it was yesterday, that a guy, a Hearts fan, jumped the fence at the Hearts end and came onto the pitch and tried to get to Jackie McNamara, but Eric Schrader grabbed him by the throat and basically held him there until the police came. And Eric was a great player, great professional, and basically the guy had no chance of getting away from Eric. Like he was like a brick shithouse, basically. He was like a brick shithouse. One of the best guys ever trained me in the whole of my career, and the whole of the career I had. Eric was a true professional. Fittest man I've ever seen.
Best tackle you've made?
Best tackle? I've actually got a photo of a tackle I made against. You'll not remember. It was probably too early in my career. A guy called Du Grugve, who was like 6'2", big shit house again, and basically I tackled him. I was like maybe 18, just a wee guy. Tackled him and went right through him. And I've got a picture of it. My pal's dad used to work for the Daily Record. He used to take pictures, and he got a picture of it, and I've still got it to this day. And probably that's why I remember it more than anyone.
You were brave.
Oh, I'm brave doing this interview with you.
Best Hibs game you've seen?
Oh, it has to be the Scottish Cup.
Got to be
the Scottish Cup.
You'd be mad not to pick it.
Yep, correct. My only wee thing on that day was my mum and dad were in Lanzarote at the time. I just wish my dad had been there with us, because I had all my daughters were there. I was there. So they were all there, dads, but my dad was stuck in Lanzarote. I obviously, I know he was celebrating, but I would have liked him being there with us. That was my only wee hinge of regret. You know what I mean? I wish I'd been there.
But at least we won on the day.
Well, it was a great game. Great support. At the time, I ran the tour, I ran the four in hand, but I ran that night when we got back. I ran 6 buses or something for the four in hand. And I remember on the Saturday night, I never had a drink. On the Sunday night, I never had a drink. And on the Monday, I never had a drink. And the boys, like wee Stokesy and all that, all came to the pub and all that. Had a celebration drink, but I never had a drink. So I virtually remember the whole of that weekend, the game, Saturday night, the Sunday, going to the links where the guys going down to Easter Road. I was basically on the door for like 2 days on the door at the four in hand. So I remember it all.
What players were in the four in hand?
All of them were in. They were out on the Monday celebrating, and they came down to the four in hand. They were in the four in hand. They were all jumping about.
Who was the drunkest?
Wee Stokes was the drunkest. So would that be if I scored 2 again? Huh?
And again, I'll probably know your answer. What's the emotional game you've seen?
That game.
I kind of thought...
That game, because I'd been to the real bad game, the 5-1 game, you know what I mean?
How was that game or not?
Oh, you go from one extreme emotion to the next, and you think, is it ever going to happen? And when it does, it was an unbelievable feeling. And to be there with my 5 daughters, you know what I mean? That was, for me, that was a great feeling. To go along with the game, you know what I mean? That just to be with all them at the same moment, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it was a great game. I mean, when Halliday scored, I thought, same story.
Here we go again.
Pretty much. But I think when Henderson scored, there was only one winner.
Aye. Well, what game were you at? I never seen Henderson score. Seen Henderson take the corner kick.
No, I meant Stokes, sorry.
was going to say, you're the drunkest guy on the planet then.
No, but I was rough that day.
You were rough that day, were you?
Because the night before was the Disability Player of the Year award.
For what? For where? For what area?
For the Fitbit in Gallifrey Redeem.
And did you win it?
No, we got invited to the Player of the Year amongst their first team. So I got
All right. So you had a pre-match celebration.
I said to my dad it would be 3-2 Hibs, but he said wait until we get up to Hampden. There was 2 bookies. Raging.
Great day, great day.
Who were your footballing idols growing up?
Well, my first footballing idol before I actually signed for Hibs or anything that I was always going to be connected to him was a guy called Pat Stanton. And you've met him, Darren. You've met him at Easter Road when we've been at the Edinburgh Suite. So Pat was my first idol. Pat was like, it was a great Eddie Tumble, the Tumbles Tornadoes, you know what I mean? A great team. I got the tail end of it, you know what I mean? That was just like me coming to be a teenager when they were kind of finishing up. But Pat was always, and sometimes you say that you shouldn't meet your hero, but I've met my hero many, many times. And the more I see the guy, you know, more he's just a pure gentleman. Pure gentleman. A lovely guy, and just as I say, a real gentleman.
Well, I got a photo with him now.
Of what?
Have I met Pat?
You met Pat when he's come up to the Edinburgh Suite at the table with Wally and all that. You've met him. Definitely met him. Definitely met him.
Best club anthem you've heard?
I know it's an old one, but I would still say when you hear "You'll Never Walk Alone" at Celtic or even Liverpool, I think if you're one of these supporter of these clubs, it gets you right. It gets you. You know what I mean? It's a very emotional song. The one that sticks in my mind and all the times at Easter Road was it was going into extra time. Hibs v AK Athens. And basically, the whole stadium was, "Hey, baby." Do you know that one?
No.
Right. It was unbelievable. The whole stadium was singing it. You know what I mean? Going into extra time, and the hairs on the back of your neck were standing up. That was the one I remember with Hibs. The best one I've ever heard was Celtic v St Johnstone. I wasn't playing. I was suspended at the time, and Celtic stopped 10 in a row. And we're singing "We Shall Not Be Moved," and the holy parkhead was shaking. It's unbelievable the noise that was created that day. I've never heard anything like it in football in my life.
Leaving Sunshine Only.
But that would be the closest to it. That would be the closest to it when we Sunshine on the Leith at the Scottish Cup final. That would be the closest to it.
Unreal Rain edition, yeah. Who was the worst dresser in the Hibs team?
Is that when I kind of first started at Hibs? You talk about like we played with.
It's up to you.
I'm trying to think because a lot of the guys at your age, Dan, wouldn't really remember the players that I played with. You know what I mean? But probably the worst dresser would be probably Jim McArthur. He was a goalkeeper. I think you've maybe met him in the Edinburgh Suite as well, Daz.
Probably.
He comes up and sees me and Wally and Ian and that at the Edinburgh Suite. But I would say probably Jim McArthur. He used to tuck his shirt, his dress shirt into his pants, his underpants. A bit like yourself, Daz.
You can get them. Stop. Worst trainer in the Hibs team?
The worst trainer was, that's easy for me, that's Gordon Hunter. Gordon Hunter was the worst trainer, but come 3 o'clock on a Saturday, that guy just become a different animal. Just become GBH, they used to call him, Great Bodily Harem. That's what he used to date Ally McCoist. That's why he was called GBH, Great Bodily Harem. Great guy, absolutely fantastic guy.
Best stadium you've played in?
I would say the day I would say when Celtic Park got redeveloped, it was a phenomenal stadium. Phenomenal. Not just the development there, but the actual atmosphere it's created inside it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Listen, I like Tynecastle because of the closeness of the fans to the pitch, Darren. I like that as well. I like that. I mean, it probably wasn't. It's a different stadium now with the new main stand being there. But I'm just saying the atmosphere that was created from that wasn't the best stadium, but it was one of the best atmospheres. You know what I mean? The atmosphere created there.
Looks like a bloody shopping mall.
Oh, you think so?
You designed the new Poundland store.
The new Poundland.
Best game you've played in?
Would that be for Hibs or
just whatever team you want?
Whatever team I want.
You pick.
I played for Aberdeen against Hearts at Tynecastle.
Right.
And we beat them 4-1, but it could have been 8-1. There was an up-and-coming couple of young guys at Aberdeen at the time, a guy called Scott Booth, who is now the manager of Glasgow's ladies team, and Ian Jess. And I think they scored 2 each, but we absolutely hammered them. We outplayed them, and as I say, it could have probably been about 8, but that really sticks in my mind because it was at the time was another one. It was a victory that at Tynecastle.
Best derby you've played in?
Well, I probably there's 2 that stick in my mind, and I scored in both of them. And I scored the winner. Hibs and Hearts, and they played each other for about 10 years because Hibs were in the first division, Hearts were in the first division. Eddie May scored the first one, and I scored the second one by header to make it the first time in 10 years we had beat them. But as I say, we hadn't played each other for numerous years and basically Jim Gray and David Duff at the time were the guys who had just taken over the club. And I'll never forget, they came in after the game. We were on £500 bonus to beat the Hearts that day. And they said, right, guys, we're doubling your bonus for it. £1,000 a man. And everybody was jumping about the showers going ballistic. I mean, a lot of money. That was about 80-something. 87 maybe, 87, something like that. Many moons ago, and £1,000 was a lot of money then. So, and then I played at Tynecastle where I scored the first goal with a header, and Archibald scored the second to make it 2-1 for us. They scored late on with a David McPherson header, I think. But Gordon Ray got sent off that day. He got a double booking and got sent off. So we played about 60 minutes with 10 men, and we beat them.
What players do you now keep in touch with?
Well, when I kind of finished playing football altogether, I started the Former Players Association. I've been at HFPA, Hibernian Former Players Association. So most of the guys I keep in touch with are these guys like Mickey Weir, Gordon Hunter, John Collins. I keep in touch with quite a lot of them, Jackie McNamara, Ralph Callahan. Most of the guys I play with, and then I keep so much in touch with the other guys, but it's mostly in my area I keep in touch with. But I get to see a lot more of them because I'm chairman of the former players, and it's been going for 15 years now. So it keeps everybody in touch with each other to find out what's happening here, what's happening there, who's keeping in good health, who's not so good health. And then once a year at Christmas time, we normally have a do for everybody to come and see each other just to see how everybody's getting on. Obviously, with COVID this year, it'll probably not happen, but just the way it is.
Why did you start buying pubs?
I bought my first pub just prior to finishing. I finished playing in about 2003, and I bought my pub in 1990. I bought the Tor, the Torino, which is the area I was from when I was a young kid, and my mum and dad kind of run it, and then I run it now. But I don't know. My mum and dad had been in the pub trade for a long time. They had a pub in Leith called the Copper Bowl, which was right across in Constitution Street, right across from the police station. And basically, I'd always kind of been brought up in that environment. You know what I mean? When I was a young laddie, I'd always been about. I'd always helped my dad. I'd always steal the tokens to get into the fruit machine to see if I could win the gold bars in it. So I've always been in that environment. And then, as I say, I think it was September 1999, I bought the Tor. Came up for sale and I bought it. And I've still got it to this day, 21 years later.
What's it like watching Hibs?
Now?
Aye.
Well, it's a bit surreal now, obviously, because we're not watching them in live action, you know what I mean? We're only watching them through the TV or through the TV.
No, like when we could go and watch them.
But live?
Aye.
Well, you know where I sit. You know where I go. I go to the Edinburgh Suite, and basically there's like Willie McEwen, Ian McDonald, Kenny Walk. You know what I mean? There's all these type of guys, and it's not just about the football now, Darren. It's the camaraderie, taking the mickey at each other. You can what it's like at the table. It's a good bundle of laughs. Then you get the guys like Yogi coming along to see you, John Collins, Pat Stanton, all the older players coming along to see you. So it's not just about the actual game. The game sometimes is a bonus, you know what I mean? But
mainly the company.
It is, and we've been doing it for years. You cannot yourself with Ian and Willie and that, and Ian Fraser and that. We've probably been at the same table for 6-7 years or something. Prior to that, we were still going to the football, but we were in a mixed different areas. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now we look forward, and you cannot when you've been there yourself. The laughs that we have at the table, it's a good laugh. Sometimes you come with your ginger hair and that with your haircuts, we'll have a laugh about that. I know, you know what I mean?
It's standard for you guys, though.
Correct, standard. That's it.
Do you miss playing football?
I think most guys will tell you that they miss playing, but what they miss most is the banter. And sometimes you'll have seen that when the other players come along to the Edinburgh Suite, you'll see that the banter just starts right away. Everybody taking the mickey at each other. You know what I mean? And that's what it was like. That's what you miss most about it. I miss the football, but it was always going to come to an end at some point. You know what I mean? It was always somebody's career. Doesn't matter when you start football. There's always going to be an end to your football as playing wise.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
I've seen that.
I mean, some people say my career finished I started at 82 and I finished in 83. But no, it's the banter I miss. The crack with the boys is what I miss the most.
So, have you got anyone you want to shout out?
Shout out?
Like give them a wee mention.
I would just like to say, you kind of missing what they call it is the Hibs family. You know what I mean? When we go to the game, we see the same guys, the same people sitting in the same seats, but we'll have a laugh and a joke. Sometimes we see great football, we see good games, we see a good game between two teams. Sometimes we see a great game for Hibs, but I would just say stay with it. You know what I mean? And I will be back to normal sometime soon.
Well, you were never normal.
No, I still aren't normal. You know what I mean? But it's great. It's great being a Hibs supporter. I've had a great life. I'm lucky that I've worn the jersey. I'm lucky I've played for them. I played for them for 8 years, from 82 to 1990. I played for 82 right through to 2003. 21 year. Never had many bad injuries, which I was lucky with. So it was great. To get paid for something you do, Darren, and something you enjoy is absolutely fantastic.
Exactly.
Fantastic. And now you make a career of interviewing all the old duds, aren't you?
Oh, aye. And the young'uns.
Aye, but it's your career now. What we want to do is get your career up and running. That's what we're really wanting.
Oh, can I run?
I ken that.
But what I'll do, Kano, is I'll stop recording and carry on talking.
No problem, son. You got to stop recording now.
Yeah, 2 seconds. So thank you very much, Kano, for taking your time out and also getting your daughter to actually get this set up, because there's 2 plans.
If I didn't get Francesca to set it up, we wouldn't be sitting here now. We wouldn't have been just sitting in silence about an hour ago. You ken that yourself. Exactly, you know that I'm not technically I'm not that advanced. You know what I mean? I need that to happen. But it's happened, and it's been enjoyable, mate.
Cheers, mate.
No problems, pal.